We're good. Right. Everybody on? Sinead on?
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, a very warm welcome to everyone. We're so pleased you're here with us this evening. What an amazing evening we've got tonight. We've got one of the absolutely uprising superstars in our business, someone who's not been on the scene for very long, but she's really making history in everything that she's doing. And everybody's like always asking, "Oh, what's Sinead doing? You know, this is so incredible what she's achieving." Well, tonight we're going to hear all about that, and it's my enormous pleasure to introduce to everyone Sinead Kavanagh, who's a 100 Club PMD in our business. So good evening, Sinead.
PMD.
PMD. I said PMD, didn't I?
I said P. No, I don't know.
Never mind. You are a PMD.
You know, just set the tone and make it really awkward.
You are a PMD. Anyway, Sinead, it's lovely to have you on, and we're so grateful you taking the time to spend it with us. And we're recording the call, so it'll soon be out in cyberspace. So, and let's just get straight on with it because, you know, obviously we've only got till 9. So I just wanted to ask you, first of all, tell us, Sinead, a little bit about your background. You know, what have you been doing up until this point? What's your background?
My background is pretty standard and ordinary, I'd imagine. From London, I graduated at university with a degree in marketing. And I graduated into a recession, which was pretty useless. I don't think I've ever had an actual marketing job. And I remember one of my lecturers at the time was like, you're graduating to recession. You're very unlikely to find what you want to do, so you better get good at sales. And I was like, oh my God, I was like quite shy. Not shy anymore, quite shy then, and it was really terrifying, and just the thought of selling used to really scare the shit out of me. So that was kind of like where I was at, and I moved to Manchester the day I finished university. Like, I went for a weekend and I just decided I wanted to stay there. I was pretty sure I should have went to university then in the first place, but so I just moved to Manchester, got a sales job as per what I was kind of told and conditioned to do, and it was knocking on doors. So I was like one of those really irritating door-to-door salespeople, selling gas and electric, and it wasn't glamorous, but it was pretty good fun, and that's kind of where I think everything kind of started for me. It was a network marketing company, even though I didn't know that at the time, because you just don't, and I didn't know what network marketing even meant. So I did that for about a year and a half, and then I got like a proper job, which meant I was sat in an office pretty much doing the same thing but on the phone. And that's kind of what I did for years. I've done loads of different kind of sales jobs. Just as I was joining Juice Plus, I was working for a big surveying company. So I'd kind of worked my way up in ranking, I suppose. I was a sales manager for this company. I was the only girl in my department. I was the youngest one there. And to me, it was always about pushing myself where other people were uncomfortable and always going for more. And that's kind of something I've always tried to do. Not always successfully, but always tried nevertheless. And that's kind of where it led me. The reason I got so fed up with it, and it was a good job, it was very well paid. You know, I was 25 when I quit and sort of retired from corporate life, but there was just no more progression, and that's kind of where I got frustrated with that job, the situation I was in. And yeah, I didn't have a very good work-life balance of what I wanted. So worked really hard for many years. I think I probably had about 22 jobs ever. And that's not because I keep getting sacked. It's because I always found like opportunity to get an extra job in. And I think even at uni, I was a full-time student and I had like 3-4 jobs at the same time. And I was working in Topshop, and then I was working in in a nightclub, and then I was just doing all these things because I liked being busy and I liked earning money. And it was really until I did this, I realised that busy and earning money don't actually correlate too well with each other. You can be very busy, but it doesn't actually create genuine wealth. It just gives you job money. And at the end of the month, it's gone, and you have to start all over again, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, actually. So, yeah, that was kind of where I started.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, that's fascinating. And you obviously had amazing work habits. And that's the thing that I immediately picked up from what you were saying there, that you were someone who really knew how to apply themselves. And obviously that served you brilliantly well in Juice Plus. But let me just ask you, Sinead, what attracted you first to Juice Plus? Because obviously it's a little bit different. What was it that made you suddenly think, wow, this is what I want to do?
To be honest, it was 100% the products. I'd obviously heard of other companies. I'd spent so long trying to find other jobs that kind of fit into my lifestyle because I wanted more money. I'm just from a normal background. Like my parents are from London. I grew up in a council estate. We didn't own anything. So I always knew that if I ever wanted more, I had to go and get it myself. So I was always searching for other things. And when you search for opportunities, a bad time. So when you search for opportunities, that you do come across the typical kind of like MLM, spamming, kind of the things that look like they're not real. And I came across so many of those and they never ever interested me. My sister rang me up because I lived in Manchester. She lived in Buckingham. And she rang me up and she was like, oh, I've lost, I don't know how many pounds. She's like, I've lost like 7 pounds in 2 weeks. And we're obviously like girls, quite competitive. I was like, well, that's amazing. Like, what have you done different? And she was like, well, I've got these shakes. And I don't even know, honestly, whether I knew they were legal or not. I was like, I want some. And that was kind of it. And I got in with the product. And I really loved the whole concept of the products. They just totally worked with me. I've got polycystic ovaries and, I had loads of random hormones. And it really kind of helped with that, and it just changed a lot of the silly habits I had being young and obviously living on my own. I used to skip breakfast, and then it changed that for me, which meant when it came to mid-morning at work, I wasn't like a monster trying to raid the vending machines. Like it just changed how I felt as a person. So she introduced me to the products, and then it was about 5 or 6 months later when actually she was going wedding dress shopping, and the friend that also came along to go wedding dress shopping was the friend that she bought it from. And I genuinely felt like it was like something illegal off the internet that no one had ever heard of. And when Sally was telling me about the business, everything clicked for me, and I was like, I need to join this business. Like, I don't even care how much it costs. I need to join up now. She was a distributor for about 6 months, and she was I don't even know if she was STD, so she had quite a slow start, and she didn't even have a clue how to sign me up. So I was like, can I sign up now? And she was like, yeah, I think so, but I'll come back to you tomorrow. And I was like, babe, you're right in front of me. Like, let's just do it now. And it was like that for a couple of days, because then she couldn't get into contact with her upline and all these. No one would get back to us. I remember ringing Juice Plus. I Googled it, rang them, and I was like, I need to join. Can someone please ring me back? And they were like, yeah, okay, no worries. And that's just kind of how it just kept happening. And then eventually, I think about 2 weeks after, I was pestering Emma Karen every single day, John Holowati every single day. It was really random. They should have acted on it a bit sooner, to be honest. But that was kind of how it came about. And I would never have been that confident about the business if I didn't already love the product.
Yeah.
So it was 1,000% the product for me.
Well, that's so perfect. And of course, you were just totally ready then to get going with the business. And so just tell us, I mean, obviously, you've developed a lot of momentum with your business, and your growth is absolutely spectacular. But just how did you get going? How did you kick off your business, and how did you sort of create this sort of surge of momentum that you've got now?
To be honest, the beginning was really hard. I remember thinking it was going to be easy because I was so confident in the products, and I made so many mistakes. Like, I would message all of my friends and I'd be like, hey, I've lost weight. Do you want to lose weight? And they were like, oh, not really new. Hi. It was just really strange. It was pretty off-putting at the beginning. If I would have known myself, I would definitely have unfriended myself. But no, it was pretty bad. I was just keen to get going and didn't think about the other person I was talking to. I remember thinking that I thought it was going to be easy because I'd obviously loved the products and I was always talking about them and people were always asking me questions. Girls always do though, we're quite inquisitive. So I just thought, well, it's going to be amazing. Everyone's going to ask me like, how I've done this and, you know, why my skin is nice and clear, and then bam, I'm going to get like customer. And it didn't work that way. So I think my first 2-3 weeks I had 0 customers and was like wanted to quit. I was like, this has been sold to me very differently. And it was kind of my own fault because I didn't really think about the other person. And then it just took a moment of clarity of like, what would have made me start? So like my sister was just telling me all about her results. She didn't ring me and go like, you know, Sinead, I think you're fat. Like, do you want to try some of this? Or do you want to... And obviously this is back in the day. Bear in mind, this is almost 3 years ago and we were quite like uneducated as a company, and it just kind of rolled down the hill that it was just about weight loss, and obviously it's a lot more than that. But that was kind of how it started with us. If she had approached me differently, I don't think I would have been so keen, but because she only really spoke about herself, that's where I started with my business. So that was all it was for me. I really started focusing on my results and sharing my results. The next thing I did was just be really, really smart with who I wanted to speak to, and understanding that not every single person on my friends list is going to become a customer of mine. Not every single one of my friends is going to want to join the business, because that's not actually how you would have any other company. If I was opening a restaurant tomorrow, I would definitely not expect my sisters to want to work there and my mum and dad to come in every day for their dinner. That would not work. So it was just really kind of thinking about what I was able to deliver, what I wanted to give extra value for, where people would have a different experience with me than with somebody else. And those are all kind of my USPs. These aren't like product USPs. It's about you as an individual, because the company is the product. You are yourself. You can't be the company or the product. You kind of need to think about what you can bring. So I really started focusing on what I wanted to be known for, how I wanted to help people, and what sort of target audience was I going to look for. Again, because this is where I kind of went back into marketing mode. Like, who is my ideal customer, and where am I going to find more of that ideal customer? How can I get in front of that person more? And that's where social media is genius, because everything is right there.
And Sinead, what did you determine was your ideal customer when you thought about it? There we go. So
think about it, we're all the same. That's everyone's ideal customer really is themselves. It's whatever you wanted in the product, whatever you were looking for in the product, or whatever the product has given you. And sometimes it's the benefits that the product has given us that we didn't know were there, or the problems that have been solved that we never knew were problems in the beginning, if that makes sense. So like, for example, I have girls in my business. So one of my cousins, Georgina, she joined the business. You know George, don't you,
yeah.
James? Like, she joined the business. She's now LMD going for IMD. She's absolutely amazing. And, you know, she was a young mum. There was all these other reasons why she could have wanted the product of the business. And even though I kept telling her how amazing the company was, it was really the product that she loved, because she had really bad skin problems. And when she used the product, she found that it changed her skin in a way that she never thought possible, because she spent so many years going to the doctors and getting different creams and getting all these different things, and none of it fixed the problem. And then sometimes we're conditioned to believe, well, if they can't fix the problem's unfixable. And that's kind of where it came from. Like, what other problems are being solved or fixed, and then how can you find more people with that problem? But this is when I need to be quite careful, because I said this, I said literally the exact same thing like quite a few months ago. And some girl came back and was like, well, I've done what you said. I've identified the problem, and I'm finding people with the same problem, offering them a solution. And I mean, she was just really blunt and going to people that she doesn't know, adding them from groups, saying, hey, you're fat, this is what you can use. And I was like, what? Like, no, that's just not the way. It's all about building relationships. So it really kind of has to start from a natural, like a really organic place with yourself, like what you genuinely want to help someone with. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be the product, even though obviously I'm a massive advocate for the product side of our business. Basically, my whole business has grown from customers joining the team. I find that really works for me. But even the business side, like, you don't know who you can help with our business financially. So yeah, just figure out what what you can solve and how you're going to incorporate that into genuine conversations, genuine friendships, and help someone else and not make it really about you.
No, that's fantastic. So Sinead, I mean, a lot of people on the call will be saying, well, look, I've got quite a lot of customers, or I've got lots and lots of customers. And it's not difficult to get customers, obviously, because we've got such a fantastic product. But the thing is, you've obviously developed not only just lots and lots of customers, but you've also are developing a fantastic team. So tell us a little bit about how you've made the transition from developing customers into developing a team and how that has worked.
I don't find them, to be perfectly honest, I don't find them different. I feel like it's an extension, one is an extension of the other. So like Cheryl Cortese mentioned this last year in Birmingham, and it's exactly the way that my whole business has grown, but the way she explained it just made so much more sense. I hadn't realised I was doing it. So you have to think, you've got the general population, and you've got the people who, and it's kind of just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So you've got the general population, then you've got people who are going to be your target audience. And then some of those are going to become your customers. Not all of them, because some of them may not vibe off you. They may like someone else. They may like another product. And there's only so much of a percentage of branded, what's it called? I've lost the words. Anyway, it's going to keep going down, keep going down. So you can have general population, your target audience, your customers. And from your customers, it gets smaller just by who opens the box. Like, that's how ridiculous people can get when they buy stuff. Sometimes people buy things and they have no intention of ever using it. They just buy them because the process of buying makes them feel good about them ultimately trying to fix their problem, right? So whoever opens the box, then who starts using the product, who then uses it correctly, and it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then I found that with whoever used it correctly and got a result and became a raving fan, my whole goal always was to create my customers into raving fans, but understanding that not only a percentage of that's going to happen. We don't know who it's going to be, but only a percentage of that's going to happen. From the raving fans, then another percentage of that is going to be people who join the team. And then it goes down even further. So you have people who join the team, to people who actually, keep you on Facebook or whatever it may be for longer than a day, because it happens to everybody. If it's not happened to you yet, it will. There'll be people who join your business and then they just disappear. You're like, where did you go? It happens to everybody. It's so strange. People are crazy. So then you have people who join the team, to the ones who then start listening to the advice. That's kind of another crazy thing, because we as adults are so conditioned to know what we are doing and to always think we're right. So then listening to the advice that you get, because it's going to be different, it's going to be new, but it's just new, it's not hard. And then it will go from listening to the advice and then actually getting a few customers, to then learning if you can get one customer, I can get 20 customers. If I can get 20 customers and do this channel, you're going to eventually have people who are interested in the business who also love the product. And that is the most natural way to grow a team. It's not stressful, because if you take your emotion out of it, you just know that it just kind of becomes a bit of a game. And it's just having fun with it and enjoying the whole process. And that's just kind of what it is, because, the beginning, especially with team building, the beginning is just new. It's not hard. It's exactly the same for any of you. So there's a few of you who I know are parents, right? The first child is very hard. The first child is like, where the hell is my life? I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. Like, I don't even know my name anymore. Like, it becomes crazy hard. The second you have a few children, it's just like a juggling act. It becomes so much easier. And it should be harder because you have more to do, but it becomes easier because it's not new anymore and you're used to it. And that's exactly what our business is like. The beginning is just hard because it's new, but the more you do, the better you get at repetition and like getting good. You're only going to get better. So these calls, talking to customers, it could be explaining how our business works, or if you want to go into detail about explaining how the marketing plan works. The more you do these small things, and this is kind of a salesy thing, like I was a sales trainer in my management role, and it'd be just teach people how to be repetitive until it started to sink in and make sense and became natural to say. The more you do it, the better you get, because you're never going to get worse. You can only improve. It's just giving yourself that time. So building a team is not difficult, but you want the right team for you. And they have to be a team that match your morals. They have to be a team that you're excited about working with. I've made that mistake many a times. And then you end up with people that you can't be bothered, like you don't even want to talk to them. They're like, oh my God. And you don't want to do that either. It has to be your way, because it's like a relationship, right? You want to be with someone who you genuinely want to be building like a good relationship with for a while. It's like you, James, you and Gordon, like you bounce off each other so much and you've known each other for years. Can you imagine how awkward it would be if you like really detested each other and then you see each other all the time? It just wouldn't work.
No, Sinead, let me just ask you, with your customers, so let's say you've got customers who are using it correctly, they're raving fans, they're getting great results. How do you then first introduce the idea of them becoming a distributor?
I would ask all of my raving fan customers for referrals, because that's what raving fan customers are happy to do. And it's just normal. Like, we have it on Facebook all the time. I like social media because social media makes this business very achievable for everybody. Not everyone is good face-to-face, that kind of thing. So, for example, with social media, you have brands that you buy all the time anyway, and they will still ask you to share their stuff. And because you're a raving fan of the brand, you do it. It happens all the time with makeup companies, with even like Coca-Cola, Red Bull, big, powerful brands that have such a big presence. If they say, hey, share this, people go, okay, and they just start sharing, like, automatically. We just program that way. That's what raving fans do. So with my raving fans who are already my customers, I would just, like, obviously through conversations and stuff, I'd be like, so obviously you've had XYZ result with our products. Who else do you know that I'll be able to get in touch with? And even if they give me one name, then I start putting them in a position of, do you know what? Actually, I've just had a thought, you are so good. And it's always through confidence, right? Confidence building. You're so good. We have like customer groups. I know you guys have the same. So like, you're so good in our customer group. Like, why don't you think about joining the team? Because you could easily do what we do. And it always comes in from that place. It's never, hey, join the business, make loads of money. I hate that. It's so tacky, and it ruins everything. It ruins credibility straight away. But it has to come from a really organic place of like why you would want to work with someone. If someone's like a complete jerk, I definitely would never want them in my team, so I wouldn't even suggest it. But if they ask me, I'll probably sign up anyway. But it just has to come from, like, you have to think about, I don't know, why you'd want them in the first place, why you think they're going to add value to your team, because it's a growing little baby, isn't it? You want to make sure it's only getting better all the time. You don't want to just infect it with every person going. So yeah, I would always ask questions. I love asking people to join the business because it's so funny, the limitations we give ourselves. I've had people say to me, I couldn't possibly join this business, I'm not confident. And I'm like, yeah, but you will be. Like, we can change that easily. Or I'm not where I want to be in myself. And I'm like, that's cool, because we can work toward that. And there's so many limitations we give ourselves, and so much bullshit limitations that people tell us about ourselves and what we can't do. And you can't do this and you can't do that. I hate that. So when someone gives me a limitation, what they feel like they cannot do something, my first goal really is to prove that limitation wrong and show them that they can do more. And that's really kind of what this whole business is. It's crazy. It's a product, it's a business, it's like a big self-development course. Everyone I know who's in the business, they just change for the better, and they're so much more confident all the time. It's crazy.
So, Sinead, as we move on towards the
I talk
conference,
a lot, sorry.
No, you're amazing. Honestly, what you're saying is just absolute gold. But let me ask you, as we move towards the conference, obviously we've got the conference coming up at the end of February.
Yeah.
How important have the conference has been for you to build your business?
Everything. Oh my God, everything.
What would you say to people who are thinking, I'm booked to go to the conference, I don't know what I'm coming to, but I'm coming anyway. How important have the conferences been for you?
I would say if someone is just not even committed, and this can come across quite harsh and blunt, so bear with me. If someone's just really not committed to get themselves to something that's so, you have no idea how a conference can change your business. If you're not committed enough to get to that, then wherever you are in your life right now, whatever is making you unhappy right now, you're going to still be there in like 5 years. And all the people that you see on here, they're at the conference, they won't be there. They won't be in that position that you're in. And that's kind of the only way I can describe it. It's crazy. You're going to have like 3,000 whatever people in a room. So that's kind of crazy enough as it is, because the energy is unreal. It's like a concert. And then this actually does sound really like really culty, but it is a bit like that. So many people in the room, everyone's got like, you know, everyone's really happy to see everybody else, and it's a really lovely kind of positive place, and there is just like zero judgment. So people will have like, whatever you're going through in your life, there will be someone else who has it or has it worse, and it's just crazy. So, but the breakthroughs that come, we've got loads of people on stage for going for promotions and stuff, and it's just mad. It's so eye-opening to what other people are going through as well, because we always feel like our problems are so big because obviously they're ours, and then you realise what other people do and how they overcome things. It's crazy. For example, there's a girl in my business who's just hit another promotion, and her daughter is the same age as my daughter, and she has been going through chemo. My daughter's not even 2, right? So she's been going through chemotherapy for cancer. The daughter's like just the tiniest little thing. And the mum is just absolutely like hustling every single day. Her business has grown. And like, this is a time where most people would kind of shrink, but it's grown because she never realized how grateful she was to be able to work in any circumstance than she is now. And that's, for her, that's grown her business because she's grateful that she can actually work from the hospital bed. And that's powerful. Like, she's amazing. And there's so many kind of like those kind of stories that, and sometimes the stories is kind of the hypey stuff. I'm not really into all of the hypey stories, just because I know her. So that could be something that gives you like a light bulb moment. Or it could be the speakers who are going to be teaching you how to strategize, how to make massive changes, how in your business, how to actually do your business differently to gain better results. That could be something that you take away. It could be anything. For me, my very first event, it was a lot smaller than Birmingham. There's like 200 people. And genuinely, I walked in and I thought, is this it? Like, if these guys can do it, I can definitely do it. And that's kind of how I thought. I know it sounds awful, but sometimes that's what you need as well, because you need the reality that it's just normal people. And that's it. And it's crazy. The conventions are so much fun as well. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to go.
So how are you preparing for it yourself? I mean, we've got 3.5 weeks to go to it.
Yeah.
How are you preparing? What's your strategy? What are you telling your team? What are you saying to everyone? What's your rallying cry as such for this?
What, to get to the event?
What are you saying to your team in terms of the, you know, you say, how are you preparing everyone to get to the conference, and what are you saying to people?
Well, obviously I think cost is kind of the issue for most people, or time off work or whatever. It's just being prepared. Like, make it a priority. You make it a priority, everything changes. Like, imagine it's your best friend's wedding or something that would have to be a priority. You'd be that emotional about going. It has to be like that. You can go on booking.com and you can book your hotel and you can pay for it when you get there. You don't have to pay for it yet. You can use, obviously you can buy your ticket and all that stuff. There's just, you just have to go. Like, it just changed everything. Can you imagine, like 3 years ago, I didn't even know the business existed and I wasn't even in it yet. And I was a customer and I loved the product, but I didn't even know that there was a business side of it. And then from 3 years, I've gone from like working like 9 till 9, whatever I was in my job, to now I have a 2-year-old, and it's just given us such a big life. And to be totally honest, the lifestyle I never even thought was possible, because I went to these conferences, and every time I went, my vision got bigger and bigger, and my belief in myself got bigger. My belief in the products got bigger, because you have all the doctors who they're just fabulous, and they're not that boring as well, which I think is quite important. So you've got all of those guys who are obviously giving out loads of information, and it just solidifies your belief in what you're doing, and that can change the game, because that's really where most people go wrong. They don't believe they can do something, or they feel like the product is like okay, but they're not amazed by the product, or they feel like the business is okay, but they don't actually see how much the company invests in us and you know, gives back as well. The recognition's massive. So conferences are just, you have to go. They're just so important. It just changes everything.
Fantastic, Sinead. Well, look, we're just really a little bit, we're slightly over time now. So, I mean, it's been an
sorry.
Yeah, you've been talking far too much. No, you've been absolutely superb. And we've been hanging on every word. And it really is so exciting to hear what you're saying and to see the perspective that you bring and the freshness and the, you know, it's very, very exciting. And I just wanted to finish really with this, Sinead. Since you've been in the business, how much do you think you've earned since you've joined Juice Plus?
How much have I earned?
How much have you earned? Or maybe
that wasn't one of the questions that you prepped me for, actually.
Sorry. What's the most amount of money?
No, actually, I know exactly how much I've earned. So, about £750,000.
Right.
Right.
Very, very, very spectacular.
I'm going for the million this year, so I want that by like end of summer.
Yeah.
And I've just bought a house outright, which is pretty cool.
Amazing. Well, we can see you're very ambitious, Sinead, but you've just got such a lovely way about you. And, you know, obviously we're going to see a lot more of you over
James, you're such a flirt, honestly.
Anyway, Sinead, it's so lovely to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you everyone for joining us on the call tonight. It's been such a pleasure to have you join us, Sinead, but to have everyone join us too. And we look forward to seeing you in Birmingham.
Thank you very much for having me on. And I will see you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you, Sinead. See you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow.
Take care, everyone. Bye for now.